Good answer. And do you think it's safe to say that the stronger the family, the less likelihood that the character is just free to be buck wild?
I think so. I think definitely if you come from a good family and a strong family, you're going to generally have a better character. But the thing that people have to be very careful of, especially in doing work in the Black community, is sometimes we become so focused on uplifting the people that we forget about our individual families. And if you're not there to raise your family and to give your children the attention and the nurturing that they need, a lot of times they're going to go to the left. You know, you can't be so focused on community that you neglect your own household.
Shay, thank you for making that point. That is very, very critical. And my daughter has suffered from that. And as a youngster, I'm in my 40s now, but as a youngster, she was always with me when I was doing my thing, selling books and attending lectures and doing storytelling and the whole nine, going to the school. And I had to come back and talk to her and really sit down and conversate with her and let her know that I appreciate the sacrifices she made so that the people I was teaching could learn. And so I'm very glad you made that point, because this work, I'm sure irritated Jeannie and Brother DJ struggle with this as well. We must always keep a balance between helping our own selves, our family, and the community. The issues shouldn't be separate. They should all be one issue. And we haven't learned how to reconnect those three issues. But thank you, Sister. That was an excellent comment.
You're welcome. And even taking her with you, I think, is a good idea, because you're still with her and you're still exposing her to things, even if it's not quite in the way she wanted to. But there's a lot of people who just are out traveling from town to town and barely see their children or barely have any input. And somebody was telling me, I have such strong beliefs. I hope that my children come out to be as strong as me, because so many people go to the left. And like I said, if you instill that time in your child, they're not going to be as likely to rebel as somebody who's angry because they never knew who you were. So.
This is true. Very true.
Oh.
Well, thank you, Sister. We appreciate your comments. And please call back in or stay on the line if you have any further comments as we go further.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And if I can just make a quick comment on what you all said, because it really, really, what y'all said just hits home so hard. And I got to apologize. I'm not supposed to be in the shows. I'm just running the bull. But these shows be so good, I can't help but get in here.
We appreciate you, brother. Please comment.
Y'all had said something that really hits home with me. I have a 6-month-old daughter. She about 6 months now. And my whole life, part of why I hadn't had children, it wasn't the main reason, but a major part was like, a sister told me years ago, one of my mother's good friends, she said, I'm not saying she was correct, but it's just something that stuck with me. She said, she thought that men like Brother Malcolm were very selfish to bring a wife and a child into that kind of thing, because if you're going to do that kind of work, you shouldn't bring a wife and a child into that. Now, I don't agree with what she's saying, but I do see a little piece of it. So for me, I was like, well, I'm going to do this work. And if bringing a wife and a child into it is going to be wrong to them, then I just won't bring the wife and child. I just going to do this work, because I got to do something to save my people, because I don't know what else to do. And now that I have a child, I have a woman, I have these things. So now my perspective has changed. And the decision I came to was exactly what both of y'all just hit. I said, okay, I'm going to do this work as long as I can do it, as long as my people will hear me and have me doing it. But I'll take my daughter with me. And some people say, well, that's dangerous. You know what? It's dangerous not to take her with me, because she'll resent me for not being there. And then she'll be like one of these, wild out children of the conscious community that's crazier than the children in the regular children in the street, It's dangerous not to have her with me, because if she is with me, at least she can be part of this and have fun. We can go and do things, ride together, talk, and she can have the benefit of being around it and to be real. She can meet people like Brother Kemet. She can meet Brother DJ. She can meet Brother Louis Ali, and she can meet these people who are people that one day are people going to be saying their names. She can say, well, I know him. That's like my uncle. And that's, so I think that at least for me right now, my feeling is that that's one of the things I can do, because I'm going to be out there doing it. But if she's there and she's participating and she has a part, maybe I won't see the same thing happen to my daughter that I've seen with almost I say about 75 to 80% of the conscious community's children.
Well, can I say, number one, with Malcolm X, he is not widely known, but he had some domestic problems which caused him to want to be away from home. So he was kind of almost running away from his family. But as far as taking them with you, I think that that's one of the best things you can do, because I'm like 100% daddy's girl, always have been, always will be. And some of my best memories with him are not anything major. It's after we would eat dinner at night, we would go and take a walk around the block, and in that time we would just be able to talk. So it's the drives that you'll be able to bond on. It's walking or just that few minutes. You might be talking to somebody, but you just take that few minutes for your daughter and just make her feel like she's special, she's a little princess or whatever for her few minutes, and then go on about your business. So she sees you living life and she respects you because you're a hard worker, but you still have those moments to bond with her. And like I said, it's nothing big. It's not like you have to go to Disneyland or something like that. It's those little moments that you don't even think that she'll remember that is what will stick with her and make her bond to you. If that makes any sense.
Well, that means a lot to me coming from a sister.
That is excellent. That's a good point. And my daughter, who's now 24, she'll be 25 in March, she's graduating from graduate school in February. And she went straight from high school on through. And there's nothing to be proud about anybody going through a white supremacy system. Don't get confused by what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, by the time that the sister speaking of that you spend with your child, even if you take them with you, they do appreciate getting to know you and you making them feel special for those moments. The one thing my child told me that made me feel really great, I didn't even expect her to tell me this, is that the time she spent with me, she remembers always having fun. And I know for a fact that as her parent, I was trying to teach her how to read and write. I was trying to take a first-hand step in all that she learned. And I struggled with her, and she resisted. And we laugh about, how she resisted me trying to teach her. But she really appreciated it, and she said she always had fun being with her father. And those are the kinds of memories that will last a lifetime and that will keep the child developing.
That's very true. I know with my father, he didn't graduate from high school, so his thing with us was we always had to, be educated or whatever. And, because of that, I graduated from high school early, and I started college, and went to pre-med school and all that. And really, I wasn't even that daggone concerned about it, but I really just was doing it to impress him and to make him proud, because I knew that that's what meant a lot to him. So if you spend that time and you put that effort in, they're not going to rebel. They're going to pretty much do what you want, even if it's not necessarily what they want to do. But they'll do it just because you're their daddy. So.
And that's true. And it does come back to you. You never expect it, and it always hits you like a sidewinder. But the things you never understood that they listened to does come back. I remember times when my daughter said something very intelligent, even on the consciousness. And I said, who told you that? And she was like, me. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember telling her nothing like that. But she was telling me, I told her. And so put it in there. It does come back.
Yes, sir.
And they love you for it.
Yes, sir.
And I would just say, too, that as far as our conversation tonight with African consciousness and character, that's one of the good examples that Brother Irritated gave with his 6-month-old, that the sister gave, and that I'm giving. Those are 3 good examples of how to apply some of the higher wisdom that we know we have. What comes first and foremost is family. And as a bookseller and as a person who owns a retail store, we have to also educate our customers. When I go to these other little 5 and dime stores, for whatever reason, even looking in there, sometimes I just go and look at people that have in there and what they're doing. And what you see is these Asians that have these little cigarette shops and these little insect stores and stuff like that, got their children, these grocery stores, got their children behind the counter. during school hours sometimes. And you see a partnering with the Mexicans and the Asians. You even see in Colorado some partnering with Africans and Mexicans or Italians. And so, in so far as character building, we've got to take seriously the role family plays in building and maintaining character. If our men are continue to go out and make these babies with women who don't give a damn about nothing but stuff. If all they care about is stuff, and this brother keeps going and making these babies with this type of woman, and don't get me wrong, sisters, not all sisters are enamored by stuff. It just seems to be an epidemic of sisters like that lately. And so it's not all sisters. But we can't keep reproducing these babies without having the mental capacity or even the emotional capacity to stay in that household and help guide that child's life. We've got to stop taking our sexual appetite so lightly, and we've got to take them more seriously. We should be taking lots of semen like lots of blood. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to blame this all on sisters, because we got some knucklehead sisters out there. We got some ignorant brothers too. But I can say this: if the brothers aren't giving it to the sisters that are ignorant, then the sisters that deserve it get it, and the sisters that ain't getting it start to change up. Now, we know she got the cookie jar, but the brother's role cannot be underestimated. Brother, you got to raise your own standard of what you sleep with. You can't be sleeping with somebody who's going to pull weapons on you. You can't be sleeping with people who can't wait to call the child support people and come arrest your butt. So you can't even get a fishing license, a driver's license, a bicycle license. You can't get that. And so we got to really take into consideration that our character is recorded on our own soul. And it's a sad situation, but we got to deal with it like mature adults. Even though you may have been born into this world ignorant, not even knew you was African, not even knew you had a reason to be fighting, it is still the individual's responsibility to correct all this mess within ourselves and in our community. We aren't taught that this is our responsibility, so we lack a collective character. And I think what I'm trying to come to in this whole discussion is the understanding that everybody needs to understand that our character is subject and subjected to our community dynamic. If we have no community character, we cannot have a family character. If we don't have a family character, we don't have an individual character. And so what I want people to understand tonight is that all levels of existence are connected to your very personal character.